Tonight, another shooting, and this time a school in California.
Plus, prominent members of the GOP are calling for Roy Moore to step down.
And students at Washington State forced to evacuate due to smoke inside a building. Murrow News 8 starts right now.
From Studio B on the campus of Washington State University, this is Pullman's only nightly newscast. This is Murrow News 8.
Good evening, I'm Majestic Storm.
And I'm Stella Sun. Welcome to Murrow News 8.
4 people are dead and several others are wounded after a shooter opened fire at an elementary school in Northern California. At least 2 of those are injured, and a number of people are injured but are still unclear why that happened. At least 7 received treatment at local hospitals. There are also reports of the shooter taking aim at people in several other locations. Police say the shooter was randomly picking targets before they killed the man. The motive for the shooting is still unknown. Smoke caused by a mechanical failure forced people inside Busted Hall to evacuate earlier this morning. White smoke started to enter labs and classrooms on the 3rd and 4th floor, which led those inside to call 911. The Pullman Fire Department instructed those who called to pull the fire alarm themselves since the automatic fire alarm system wasn't triggered. After a short investigation, the fire department couldn't find any signs of an actual fire.
Pullman police purchased a fleet of 4 drones last summer, costing the department around $9,000. The drones can be used for a variety of reasons, including traffic control and search and rescue operations. But Pullman Police Chief Gary Jenkins says that the drones serve another purpose, keeping officers safe.
We can also use it for reconnaissance, so if we have a situation where, say, there's an armed person, we can get a drone in closely without having to jeopardize officer safety.
The drones can fly up to a height of 400 feet, which is the maximum altitude allowed in Pullman city limits. But before taking off, the pilot must first get approval from the local airport. The camera on the drone allows the pilot to view the situation from the air. However, the Pullman Police Department cannot yet train officers to pilot the drones. That training is controlled by the Federal Aviation Administration. They have filed a request to train officers to be pilots and should hear back soon.
1 woman died and another received serious injuries after a tree in Renton fell on a car during the windstorm yesterday. The woman who died and the woman injured were both trapped in the car, and rescuers had to cut the tree, then cut through the roof of the car to save them. A young girl was sitting in the back and only suffered minor injuries.
The WSU men's basketball team began their regular season on Sunday afternoon against Texas Southern University. Nicholas Bartlett explains how the Cougars came back from a 20 points down to win the game in a dramatic fashion.
The Washington State Cougars men's basketball team began their 4th year under head coach Ernie Kent at Beasley Coliseum. The Cougs started off the game extremely slow, missing wide open shots throughout the first half. On the other side of the court, the Tigers found their rhythm and made a variety of contested shots throughout the first half. At halftime, the Cougs found themselves trailing the Tigers by 22 points. Ernie Kent let his team figure out what went wrong in the first half for themselves.
It wasn't about yelling and screaming at them because they're young. They're a young team. It was about allowing them to have a moment to themselves.
As the second half rolled around, Robert Franks and Malachi Flynn led the Cougars' charge and brought the Cougars back, eventually tying the game and sending it to overtime. In overtime, the Cougars proved to be just a little bit too much to handle and were able to take the victory. Junior Robert Franks got extremely hot during the second half and scored 18 points in a row, keeping the Cougars in the game. In the last 3 minutes of the game, sophomore point guard Malachi Flynn hit multiple big shots to tie the game and send it into overtime after struggling mightily in the first half.
I have a short-term memory of the shooter, and that's what I did tonight.
Robert Franks attributed his big game to his teammates.
Just falling back on my teammates, man. I just didn't want to lose tonight. My teammates didn't want us to lose either, and they seen I had the hot hand and they just kept feeding me the ball.
The Cougs ended up winning the game in overtime and take on Seattle University Wednesday night at Beasley Coliseum. Murrow News 8, Nicholas Bartlett.
Coming up, Mitch McConnell calls for Roy Moore to step down amidst sexual assault allegations.
Plus, 2 massive earthquakes rock nations around the world. We'll give you an update on the damage.
the great outside.
My new mom and I have a lot in common.
So shiny.
We both love the outdoors.
That's not a flower.
And she knows a lot about wildlife.
A labradoodle.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
I wouldn't use this one.
He helps me with my decision making.
Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
At least 452 people are dead and thousands are injured after a magnitude 7.3 earthquake struck the border of Iran-Iraq on Sunday. Authorities in both countries began rescue operations and Iran declared 3 days of mourning. People felt the quake across the region and in Pakistan, Lebanon, Kuwait, and Turkey. The Irani Red Crescent Society is working in hard-hit areas with sniffer dogs, debris removal teams, and are offering emergency shelters and treatment to those affected. Another massive earthquake struck just off the coast of Costa Rica on Sunday night. The 6.5 magnitude earthquake centered 16 kilometers west of Jaco, Costa Rica. Jaco lies southwest of Costa Rica's capital, San Jose, and is part of the region of Puritans on the Pacific coast. Unlike the earthquake in the Middle East, the only people injured in Costa Rica were the 3 people who suffered heart attacks at the time. Officials evacuated at least one building in Jaco due to damages. Emergency responses agencies are active and remain on alert after the quake.
Tampa police, there may be a serial killer on the loose. A murderer shot a man from behind who was walking around town. Police say the murder may be connected to a string of 3 unsolved murders. 6-year-old Ronald Felton died blocks away from memorial honoring the 3 unsolved murders. The suspect in today's murder is described as a slim black man with light complexion, around 6 feet tall, wearing all black.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he believes all allegations towards Republican Senate nominee Roy Moore and believes that Moore should drop out of his current Senate race. The Washington Post published a report of interviews accusing Moore of seeking sexual relationships with teenage women. Moore denied the accusations and is planning to sue the Post.
Washington Post published another attack on my character reputation in a desperate attempt to stop my political campaign. These attacks either involve a minor child and are completely false and untrue, and for which they will be sued.
The report by the Washington Post puts pressure on Republicans to further themselves from Moore, who already has a controversial history of racial charge and homophobic comments.
The Justice Department announced Monday that prosecutors will look into whether a special counsel should investigate certain political opponents of Donald Trump, including Hillary Clinton. The Justice Department said prosecutors would investigate donations made to the Clinton Foundation. Ongoing allegations claim that those donations tie to the 2010 decision by the Obama administration that led to a Russian nuclear agency purchasing uranium from a United States nuclear company. The letter seems to be in response to a statement made by President Trump earlier this month, expressing dissatisfaction with Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Attorney General Jeff Sessions says he does not recall anyone on the Trump campaign who made contact with Russia. This claim supports his original testimony in October. Court records later revealed that Sessions led a March 2016 meeting where George Papadopoulos suggested a meeting between Trump and Vladimir Putin. Sessions said he shot down Papadopoulos' meeting idea between the 2 presidents. After the break, Nick will let us know what to expect with weather this week.
That's right, and it's just so heartbreaking of these horrible disasters that have been happening one after another. You know, my heart just really goes out to these different places hit by these disasters.
Yeah. So, and later, a famous entertainer is making a stop in Seattle next year. I have no idea what to say.
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it, I see it.
Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
The great outside.
My new mom and I have a lot in common.
So shiny.
We both love the outdoors.
That's not a flower.
And she knows a lot about wildlife.
A labradoodle.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play or even what you wear. You just need to be there. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
The weather keeps shifting back and forth between sun and rain. Nick, what can we expect for the rest of the week?
Well, we got a little sunshine today, which was definitely enjoyable. It brightened up my mood a little bit. I definitely needed that today. But as we step in and look at the rest of today's weather, it's going to be around 40 degrees, pretty chilly, but not entirely cold. You might want to break out a light jacket, maybe something a little bit heavier, but nothing too frigid or too hot. And as we move over to tomorrow's forecast, again, it's going to stay around 45 degrees, a little bit chillier actually. We're going to have some evening rain. It's going to be a very interesting weather day all around with the rain, maybe a little bit of snow showers, a little bit of sun. You never really know what to expect in Pullman. And as we switch over here to the state map, we'll look at Seattle. And Seattle, Vancouver, and everything on the west side is a little bit more rainy today. Pretty comparable temperatures with the east side around that 45-degree range, but just as I mentioned, a little bit more rainier over on the west side. And as we as we go to the 5-day forecast, it's going to be up and down all week. It's going to be sunny, as I mentioned today. It's going to be rainy tomorrow. It's going to really just shift back and forth throughout the week. Be prepared for anything, just all around. Just be prepared for anything. Yeah, go Cougs.
After the break, Taylor Swift announces plans to come to Seattle.
We'll let you know when you can see her in concert and when tickets go on sale.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Taylor Swift will bring her Reputation tour to Seattle next year on May 22nd. Swift released her 6th album, Reputation, last week and has sold over 1 million copies in just 4 days. The star will be performing in CenturyLink Field with tickets on sale through Ticketmaster starting December 13th.
An animal rights group in Connecticut filed a lawsuit to gain legal personhood for 3 elephants at the Goshen Zoo. The Non-Human Rights Project filed a lawsuit on behalf of the elephants, arguing that animals like elephants have complex cognitive and social abilities.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Join us every weeknight at 7 and 10 for Pullman's only nightly newscast.
Have a great night, and don't forget to follow Murrow News 8 on Facebook and Twitter.
Good night, Pullman.